Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Peacock, and we are in the middle of a Cities Skylines build called Project Flintropica. And in the before the last episode, we had started to build our downtown area. We created an IT district, and we set up an office district in our downtown area. But after that episode, when now fast forward to our last episode, we ran some stress tests against our traffic networks, and basically what we did was show you the map here, and if go to Traffic Manager, I did I turned off despawning. So I turned that off. We let the city run. Before we ran it, it was at around 76. Traffic was about 76%. And when we got through running it, it was roughly half that. It got down to as low as I think 37. And so we identified a couple of areas that needed some attention, needed some TLC. And so in between that last episode and now, I actually have done a lot of work on trying to come up with a solution to a few of the areas. So the first area was our commercial and our main entrance to our high density residential area. So let's take a look first at the off ramp, the first off ramp, and the first roundabout that goes. If you go to our right, it goes to our initial neighborhood, our first neighborhood that we created, our low density residential. And then on the left side, we have our commercial shopping area that we've put in here, and to the right of that over here, we've got our high density residential. So in the off ramp, I've gone ahead and I've added an additional off ramp, I guess, to instead of, if you're turning left, instead of going through the roundabout and out this way, basically you bypass that by going on this off ramp. And then same thing coming from the other side, taking this off ramp and then coming back and leading into this main road here. And the way I did that was I put these pillars, and if you use the road anarchy, then you put these pillars on, and then to elevate this road, and then underneath I was able to put the regular exit that would basically lead into the roundabout. So to make room for this, I basically had to lower we had a bridge here that went from on this road here from this side to this side. And so I've basically had to lower it into a tunnel. So I've converted the bridge into a tunnel so it bypasses all of this. And if we look at our off ramp, basically I have taken this road that was here, it still goes underneath, and then same as this road, but I've gone ahead and this is still a one-way road going in. Or I'm sorry, no, I changed this. This is now a two-way road. It was initially a one-way road. Up here is where it goes back to being a one-way road. So this is a one-way road now coming in, and then as it comes out over here, then it becomes a three-lane main thoroughfare. And so the first right turn, if you're coming off the highway, available to you would be right here. So it's about halfway down. So there's plenty of room there for traffic to come off, and then if you need to go into this area, go ahead and make that right turn, and then so that should hopefully help alleviate some pressure that's on this road. So that's the first part. The second part of this is I sort of just redid this whole entrance into this area. Remember, we still have a roundabout, but we had a road that came off of that roundabout and kind of went straight down. And we had our commercial road kind of butting into it. And then we had another segment coming off from here into that road, and I think we had another segment coming off the highway going into that road. So what I've done is I've got two segments coming off the road, one here and one here that leads directly into this. And what I've done is I've basically before we had this road that came down. It was basically a one-way. There was a 3+1 asymmetrical road with the one lane being only available for emergency vehicles. So I've changed this, and this is now basically a two-way road. But what I've done is that this is the main entrance to our neighborhood. So I've got four roads here, four one-lane roads that feed into each of our sections. So this first one goes into this block, the second one goes into this block, third one this one, and then fourth one comes over here. And so it's one way going in, but then once you're in, it's two-way traffic. So, but I was hoping that by doing it this way, you now reduce the stress of the traffic that was in these various neighborhoods. So rather than coming down and then going up and then going back down and coming up and having one main long avenue for traffic, each group has their own avenue. And then so if we look at this, if we look at the first one, and I apologize for just moving this around too much. Hope I'm not making anyone dizzy. But we've taken this first road and, we've got this smaller neighborhood and this other neighborhood that are basically joining at this road. And I've only got one crossroad here, one access road for each side. So hopefully, we'll keep an eye on this, but just to make sure, that traffic isn't getting built up here at this intersection. The other thing I've done primarily is I've taken away the ability for the citizens to cross the street. So I've got these elevators that I've put in on each side. If we go to the underground view, you see there are paths now that go from these four elevators and actually feeds into our commercial area over here. So the thought being they won't be able to cross the street, which won't slow down any traffic that is passing through here. So that I had observed that before, was that some of the pedestrians were crossing the street and it was slowing down the cars and creating a backup situation. So, but the question is, once you're in this neighborhood, how do you get out? If this is a one-way in, where's the out? The out is over here. So I've got this. It's actually a 2-lane tunnel, but I've disabled the left lane with Traffic Manager. And the reason I use this particular one is that this actually renders. It renders underground. So if you follow along with this car, we'll take a ride with this car. You see the tunnel actually renders. So you can actually see, rather than having that, view that you had before of just sort of like an unrendered, an unrendered tunnel. And so that tunnel comes in through here, goes underneath the highway, and comes out over here with its own, single lane that comes into our interstate, that comes into our on ramp that goes back onto our highway. So if you are in this neighborhood, but you need to go back the other way, I've got this other. This way you go straight, and then if you turn left, there's another tunnel over here. So this tunnel goes underneath and comes out on this end over here, and so you're able to join this road, which then you're able to turn left and go up this main road. So that's the first one. And so the second one, basically sort of the same thing. You come out, and then you join this neighborhood here, but rather than going through a tunnel, I didn't need to do that because I had the room. Basically, it comes out into a one lane road, and joins the highway that way as well. So, I'm sorry. So you've got that way. So then the third one, basically same thing, comes down, and then has a way to go up this way via this road. And that's something I forgot to do, was do the same thing to give these guys a way over there. So I need to. I'll probably join this up so that they can come through this way, and then they would come out this way, join with the tunnel, and then back up that way. So the third neighborhood, the exit basically takes them on this road, and then the fourth one comes down. Same thing. If they need to go out this way, they just make a left here. If they need to get on the highway, they would make a right. So they would make a right here and then join this road down here. So coming on, and I've kind of redone this a little bit as well to kind of support what I've done here. So you've got one lane coming off, joining one lane that turns into two. I've now made this go underneath and had this come out, rather than before we had it come over and go underneath this road and come out over here. So I've changed that to make it go over and then come out on this side. So if you look at this, two, you have one that must go right, and then one that can go either way, and then so it becomes one lane. Now joining this lane becomes two again. Joining this lane becomes 3, joins this lane becomes 4, and join this lane becomes 5. So this lane I've got, and if I bring these up, this lane of traffic can only stay in that lane and get on the highway. Same thing with this lane, same thing with this lane. So the right 3 lanes automatically must go that way. So lanes 4 and 5, 4 goes on the highway and 5 continues on straight. So the only ones that have a choice are these group of people utilizing utilizing these lanes here. So there are 2 nodes here to where they can switch to either lane. So having cars basically switch one lane, in my obviously is much better than having a car on a 4-lane highway trying to go for the right lane all the way over to the left-hand lane, blocking everything behind it. So that was a way to kind of prevent that, was just give them 2 lanes to choose from, and then once they've made their choice, they're stuck. So that, like I said, so then that becomes, let me turn that off. That becomes 5 lanes, splits into 4 and 1. 4 and 1 joins 2, becomes 6 lanes, with a good stretch at 6, and then down to 5, and then good stretch at 5, down to 4. So at 4, 1 must exit here, becomes 3, and then 1 must exit here, so it becomes 2. So the first exit right, goes up and over to our other neighborhood on the south of the screen. But then as you exit here, the first road, let me kind of do it this way. So the first road comes in here and joins this road, and I'll show you that here in a minute, where that's coming from. So that joins into this 2-lane road, which then splits into whichever neighborhood you need to go into. And so the second one over here does the same thing, joins this road over here, becomes 2 lanes, and then splits into one of those. So in this, this one must go in the left lane, this one must go in the right lane, but then they can make their choice of which road they need to take at this node. And then same thing down here. So, and these are 1-lane roads, so there's no lane changing, so it takes them right to their neighborhood. So that takes care of that part. The other part of that was the commercial that was up in this area. So we had the 2 lanes, if you recall, we had 2 lanes for each, I guess, block, each road of commercial. And so this one is actually it's a 2-lane. I've gone ahead and made it 2 lanes, 1-way 2-lane. So 1 lane turns right, the other lane goes straight for this neighborhood, and then joins up with this 1 lane that becomes 2. So they must do that via traffic manager, set up that way. So they must go into those respective lanes, but then they can make their choice up into here, where if you turn left here, then you're going underneath this and up this side, and you're joining, neighborhoods 1 and 2. And if you go straight, then you join this road here, which then goes to neighborhoods 3 and 4. So that's how I have that set up. And I've deleted this connection here from the roundabout. So how do these people get there is they come back this way, and I've begrudgingly added a road here for them to turn and join this road here to be able to get in that way. So we'll have to see how that goes, and I'll pay attention or keep an eye out for that and see how, if this gets backed up. So I've also moved the parking lot that was here and kind of shifted it up this way. And actually, there was a new asset today that showed up for a 8-story parking deck. So I haven't downloaded it yet, but I plan on doing that and perhaps replacing these with that 8-story parking deck. We'll see how that goes. We'll try that out. So that takes care of this part. So the other one thing coming to that is that the road, it was a 6-lane 1-way, which it still is for the most part, but I've converted this section to a 4-lane 1-way. So 2 lanes for this road and 2 lanes for this road. That's coming off, and then once these 2 lanes come off, they then join this road. So each lane has a lane to go into to get to this 6-lane 1-way road. So while I was doing that, I did a little bit of additional decorating. I need to fix that, but I did some additional decorating. Let's see. Let me go ahead and level that out. I don't know why that. Okay, so that takes care of that. So I've done some additional decorating. I've added these tennis courts, added a basketball court, and I've added a couple of things over here as well at the entrance. Added a basketball court over here, added a small little park for this neighborhood, and I've added this I guess that's the statue that I downloaded from the workshop. So I've added that here. I thought that made a nice little touch. And then these additional statues that I downloaded from the workshop, these little Rubik's cubes that I've got as part of the entrance into this neighborhood. So I thought, why not download them and put them in? And so now we've got some decoration, some detailed stuff going on here. So I've added the trees back in, and so all in all, I think this turned out really nice. So hopefully it's going to work in reducing our traffic and alleviate some of the issues that this interchange was creating. So that's part one. The next thing I did was I came down here to this neighborhood, and I added a roundabout here and a roundabout here, and I've kind of made this sort of a one-way loop. So you come in, you must turn right, and you follow along this way all the way around, and you have an exit over here that you can choose to take as well, and then come back down this way. So this is a one-way loop, and then you have access to these roads from either side. And I've got this little road set up so that pretty soon here we need to go ahead and start adding some more residential here, and take advantage of this hill that's here and kind of put some hilltop homes in this neighborhood. So we'll do some of that, not on this episode, but probably maybe in the next one or the one after, at least coming up here pretty soon. So that was the next thing I did. But probably the most work I did, as if, actually this first part here was not the most work that I did. The most work that I did is actually over here in industry. I have almost redone this whole area. I have put in roundabouts here that feeds into our pier number 1, and another one here that feeds into pier number 2, along with this sort of a roundabout, if you will, that connects either side. And our warehouses, I've spaced them out because as I was doing some testing to see how this was going to look, we had the 6 warehouses right here. This was becoming a bottleneck. So I ended up spacing these out, and so we'll see how that goes. And I think as we add more, we may have them, because right now they're all facing this road. So the entrance is on this road here. So as we add some to fill in these gaps, we may have them come off of this road to help alleviate some of that traffic. But the other main thing I did is I added this 6-lane cargo station. And so I got 2 lanes here for this side, and then 2 lanes for this side. And so we've got one there, and we've got another one, I think, that's heading out as well. But the rail lines themselves, I talked about in the last episode, making this, adding an additional parallel track. And so now this track is one way heading to my left, and this is one way heading to my right. And then they can split up and do whatever they need to do here as they exit or enter the area. So this track goes all the way, and it splits here. So the one track then splits into three options here: 2 cargo tracks and a pass-through track on this side, and then same thing with this side. So pass-through on this side with 2 loading and unloading tracks on that side, which then join back up to become 2 again. And then sort of redoing this track from our dock. As you recall, it used to come out this way, join up this way, and then hooked up to our train station, which we had over here. So I got rid of the train station that was over here in lieu of this one. And the metro station that was there, I've added a second metro station over here. So I've added one here along this road, and then added another one here on this side. So I've got elevators here, so where they can cross. So pedestrians are not allowed to cross, so they must go through the elevators. And then there's two elevators over here, so that feed into these, so that this does not become a way for pedestrians to get in and out of there. So, and then same thing with this side. So I've got the two. I've got to fix that because I was doing a little bit of testing with this, adding this additional slip road. So I need to move these out, which I'll do off camera, and then which joins up to these two over here. So we'll see how that goes. And then down here, I've basically have made this. I've given it a number of options. So I've got an additional exit here to handle this traffic. We had this exit that was already here, and then I've added another exit here to handle this traffic. And so this exit here feeds into our industry area down here, but this is right now currently it is two-way, but as you enter the roundabout and need to come down here, these are one-way roads. So two segments here are one-way roads. So you must come down this way, and then you can go straight once you get here, which is fine. Or if you're coming up this way, you must go down this road, which is also now a one-way road that feeds into it. So a 3-lane one-way road, which comes all the way down and comes up this way. And they now have two options of getting on the highway. They can come up this way to join this, or they can go right and come out this way to our exit that we had set up over here earlier. So there are options now for these guys to move about. And so they can exit the highway this way as well. They can use this route, or they can use this route. Coming down this way, this is obviously two-way traffic with a bridge, so they don't interfere with this. Come down a roundabout here, and then they can come down this way if they need to, or continue on into this roundabout this way. And so the ones coming off the highway come down this way. They must turn right here, and then they can turn left here, and then go on whichever way they need to go. So, like I said, again, there are options for these guys to use. And so, same thing with the pedestrian traffic. I've got elevators basically at every major intersection here, so that there's no pedestrian traffic getting in the way of vehicle traffic. And then over here, I've got one way in to this road, which is two-way, but basically one way in here. If this gets busy, then I may end up changing this to two-way, having one entrance here and then an exit maybe over here or something. But that'll be for another time. So the last thing I wanted to show here was coming off this road onto our roundabout. Now goes underneath because traffic was sort of interfering with this traffic coming on to exit here, so it was becoming sort of a bottleneck here. So basically I took it underground all the way out and past this, and then comes out over here. So I think this is going to work out well. I've put a lot of work into this. I've also sort of isolated the two hubs here from the rest of this because we had a lot of traffic that was going between the warehouses and the piers over to our cargo hubs. So now they need to get on the highway uh, and get off the highway to get over here if they need to. If things become backed up and there are issues with that, I can always join that up here. And so I've got this little node here so that I could join a road here to come down and basically join up with this road here. So this is sort of just for future proofing and expansion. So quite a bit of work was done into this. It took me quite a few days actually. So I think posting episodes between posting 17 and 18 was about a week's time. I hadn't posted in about a week. That's almost as long as it's taken for me to do this. So I'm basically going to release episodes 18 and 19. You're watching 19 now, but 18 and 19 will pretty much be released together as a two-part series. So so that's what I've done here. So looking at this rail, I want to show one more thing. I've got, remember this that we had over here. I've basically given, because this is now these are one-way tracks, I've given this lane, this track, the ability to join this track with this one lane single track, which led into our people terminal train station up here. And then this one that would lead into our cargo station, I've split that up into one-way traffic as well. But now I've extended this straight, so this is no longer the main route. And in fact, I need to probably delete this additional original track here. But this is no longer the main route. This is now the main route. So I've got it basically coming in and then joining up this part, and then if they need to get over here or to either one of these two, they would come off of this and then go over to where they need to go. So basically it's two sets of tracks all the way through and all the way out. So I'm really pleased with the way this turned out. Like I said, a lot of work was involved in trying to get this going. So I've got, in the midst of that, we've grown to, I think we're at 46 or 48,000 residents before. Now we're at 52. So in doing some testing, just that's come up a little bit. So we still have two sections here that we can add some residential. I didn't do anything really on this side because I wanted to see how this side worked out. If this side works out like this, I may do something similar on this side. But I thought, let's just wait. Let's see how this works, and then if it works, then we'll replicate that over here. Obviously, there are more neighborhoods on this side because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, basically 5 sections with the 6-lane road split down, sort of down the middle, and then on this side you basically have 3 sections plus. So you're going to have more traffic on this side than you are on this side. So, but I just want to see how that works out. So, we'll blow away this parking lot as well and fill this up with commercial and have room for growth there. So these two obviously will continue to be high density, and then we will add some low density over here, kind of fill up this space, and then kind of keep an eye on general general industry, and we can certainly add some more, or we can turn one of these sections into a specialized industry. I'm kind of thinking maybe either farming or forestry we can do on this side. Maybe over here we do some forestry, do some farming up here on this side, but maybe doing the car factory or something along this section, or we have plenty of room down here that we haven't tapped into yet. So I basically just have a 2-lane road that goes around this way to our cargo dock. And so once we tap into this, we'll probably add a second one down here somewhere, maybe on this side, because this is where the main path is, but maybe adding another one down here to support whatever industry we put down here. So I've said a lot, I've done a lot, and so I think in the next episode, we'll work on this area down here, getting this set up with more low density residential, and perhaps adding some more industry over here to help give them some jobs. I think right now we're still at 3%, so we got room to add residents without having to worry about industry yet. So I want to focus on doing that, adding some more residential down here, and then ultimately filling these up. And then before we hit this with the touristy stuff, I want to set up another exit up here that would serve two purposes. One, sort of having an expressway that comes all the way down, and maybe do something either above ground bridges or underground tunnels that sort of bypass all of this and comes out on this end directly into our tourist and downtown area. And maybe I turn this little area here into an interchange, maybe a clover leaf or something that joins with the road that comes out this way. So that would be one purpose. The other purpose would be to feed into our future airport, international airport that we'll put over here up on this island. So I kind of want to set up that, and I'd like to do the airport as well before we start filling out before we start doing all the tourist stuff. So if we set up the infrastructure and then we start plopping down unique buildings down here, this will get full pretty quick, but we'll want to have that infrastructure in place to be able to handle all that. So big plans for this island, and big plans for this series. And I hope you guys stay tuned and subscribe and follow along. If you're enjoying this so far, please hit the like button. And I think we will see you perhaps in a couple of days when we'll do another episode with this, and trying to get this going. And hopefully we'll see you then. Take care and have a wonderful day.